I will apologize in advance for any problems with this video's sound quality. Circumstances for recording aren't the best. And I got this little guy running around. This is Finnegan when he's naughty. So maybe if you hear him stepping around in the background, you can just cut me some slack. I don't know, try to listen extra careful. Today I'm going to be talking about why reading is important, which I'm sure is something that plenty of your teachers have told you all about, but I'm hoping that I can maybe give you a better idea of why I think reading is important, why reading has been useful to me. So let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is why reading is important and how reading is important. And for starters, I want to say that I think most people aren't actually told why reading is really the most important and worthwhile subject to give your time to. I think that teachers tend to take explanations for granted. Why is reading important? How can it help you outside of the classroom? These questions seem like, common sense. So I can sympathize with teachers thinking, why devote valuable class time to talking about why this subject that kids have been doing since, in most cases they were 5 or 6 years old, why is this of value? It seems almost a trivial question to ask. But I think skipping over these questions is a problem. And the reason I think that is because without an explanation, the importance of an idea or a topic isn't going to be properly conveyed. And it really is important to understand what's at stake when we talk about why reading is important. That being said, today I'm here to tell you why I think reading can be the most important tool at your disposal if you're serious about developing yourself and wanting to actualize your full potential. General thoughts out of the way, I want to talk about competition. So for starters, I'll say it doesn't matter, what field you're interested in pursuing a career in. Seriously and consistently practicing your reading skills, even if it's only 15 or 20 minutes a day, is going to give you an advantage over your peers, your coworkers, and more generally, the people you're in competition with. Now I know that's a pretty bold claim to make, so let's start out by kind of breaking things down. How does reading give you an advantage? Reading gives you an advantage the same way that a healthy diet and exercise can give you an advantage. I think people have been trained for the most part to think about reading and healthy habits, a healthy lifestyle, as being separate. The truth is, controlling the information that's coming into your brain, controlling the information that you consume, is the cornerstone of a healthy diet. It's as important as the food that you're putting in your body. And I think it's so wrong that most people aren't told that when they're in school. Most people aren't told what is at stake. And the reality is, anybody who's hopeful about their future, who has goals for the future, is inevitably participating in some kind of competition. If you don't believe me, think about it this way. Ask yourself what it is that you want. Do you want a great high-paying job? Do you want to be accepted into a graduate school or a medical school, law school, whatever? Maybe you just want a promotion or a raise. But the point I'm making is that regardless of what exactly you want, you're going to have to get in line, because there are a number of other people who want exactly what you want and who are willing to work just as hard, if not harder, to achieve the same goal. Basically, what I'm getting at is we are all inevitably in competition with an inconceivable number of people. And if we want to achieve our goals, if we want to succeed, there isn't any secret formula that's going to get us from point A to point B fastest. Winning the competition, beating out the competition, is all about reaching our goal. And reaching our goal is all about effectively using our time. And that being said, reading is, in my opinion, about as effective a way to spend your time as you'll ever find. Next, I'm going to build on this idea of reading and competition. So I'll just make the point right away that I think of reading as being a kind of workout for your brain. So let's talk about it. Why do this workout? And the point I would make is that you should do this workout because your goals are your championships. The same way that a great athlete, to make an analogy, would train their body because achieving their goals requires perfectly executed physical performances. We, as normal people, I would say, have to train our brains to do the work for us. Michael Jordan practiced his jump shot. Tom Brady trains his throwing accuracy. Michael Phelps practices, I don't know specific swimming strokes. But if you're like me, your goals are in a completely different competitive sphere. But that being said, it is a kind of competition that we're engaged in nevertheless. I want better job opportunities. I want a raise. I want a better life for myself and for my family. What's so hard to come to terms with is the idea that life achievements are rarely spontaneous. And the reality is, if you want something, no matter what it is, you're going to have to work hard for it, because again, there are an inconceivable amount of people who want the same thing. This is true for any career, and I think that it highlights an important point to be made about what I would consider the biggest misconception in regards to reading. And that's the idea that reading is first and foremost about pleasure, that it's most immediately a form of entertainment or something to be enjoyed. And I know that that's probably an unpopular opinion, but to try to justify where I'm coming from, let me lay something out for you. So this is a common experience for myself and for many of my students and my peers as well. Let's imagine this: your English teacher, or really, I suppose, any teacher, but your English teachers in particular have probably tried selling you on reading at some point in your life by telling you how fun it is, or feeding you, some cliche that's supposed to motivate you. So let's say you take their word for it. You sit down with some old book that's been assigned to you, and you discover that there's really nothing fun about dragging your eyes from line to line to line in a quiet room all by yourself for an extended period of time. And then your mind starts to wander, and you think, why not just go on Netflix? Why not just open YouTube or start a video game or whatever? And honestly, I'm here to tell you that that's just the way it goes. Speaking from personal experience, I didn't start reading for pleasure until I was about a freshman in college, I think. And I would say that it probably took the better part of a year for me to turn a corner and sit down and just about every time be able to consistently enjoy what I was engaging with. But again, this brings us back to our athlete analogy. Reading is an exercise for your brain. It's, a kind of abstracted weightlifting or cardio. And, that doesn't mean that it's going to be fun. It means it's going to be a lot of hard work, especially in the beginning, but will inevitably become a skill that you're able to enjoy because you've put in the time required to become good. So let's break it down. Reading is about focusing, and your ability to focus is like a muscle, which has to be consistently worked like any other muscle if it's going to be kept in shape. And this is the thing that I think teachers don't spend enough time trying to drive home. It's that being able to sit in a quiet room and follow a single train of thought for 20 minutes or more, at a time. It isn't just a skill, it's a kind of cognitive superpower. And this is what reading actually is. This is what reading actually does. So that's what I mean when I say reading isn't first and foremost about fun, in my opinion. And you know, some people might disagree, and that's okay. I think reading is the cognitive equivalent of exercising. It's an act that can become a habit, that can then become a skill, that can then become fun. But it involves a lot of willpower, especially early on, before it becomes something that can be enjoyed. To say that reading is first and foremost enjoyable kind of overlooks the most difficult part, which is the beginning. But the benefits of reading, of being able to focus for an extended period of time, goes far beyond the act of reading itself. It's the kind of thing that is going to follow you wherever you go. But one of the biggest problems is this. If you go to the gym, you know, I'm talking about reading as a kind of exercise. If you go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week for a year, you'll eventually start to see results. Ideally, your muscles will be toned, you'll kind of start to look healthier, but that's not the case with reading. Maybe if you carry a heavy backpack full of books, you might start to see some gains, but it seems unlikely. And this is another thing that I think teachers need to drive home. This is one of the reasons why, a big reason why, it's so hard to keep yourself motivated to read consistently. Not being able to see the fruits of your labor makes maintaining a habit so much more difficult. And this is what I'm trying to get at. It requires a little bit of willpower. It requires discomfort to get good at reading. But once you kind of have built the skill up, it's going to be just that. It's going to be a skill that pays you back in ways you would have never have been able to see. In closing, I'll say this. Reading is important for all of the old reasons that I'm sure everybody is familiar with. Reading develops your mind, it helps you learn, it makes you, or can make you, a more empathetic person. It can expand your vocabulary. But to understand what those really mean, I think we have to consider the process that lies beneath these effects. And what I think lies underneath is pretty much what I've been saying. It's that reading is a mental workout. It's going to strengthen your ability to focus. It's a skill that is going to permeate across every aspect of your life. If you are able to sit down and really focus, that's going to allow you to get the most out of the time slots that you allow yourself for a given task. And that's what I mean when I say reading helps you develop a certain skill set that is going to help you in almost every aspect of your life. We all have goals that we want to reach. We all have our own personal championships. It's important to remember that it's hard work that's going to help you reach your goals. It's willing to make yourself uncomfortable, doing things that make you uncomfortable. That's going to help you. And again, what is the best way to optimize the time that you spend working hard? I would say to improve your focus, to practice reading. And with that, I just want to say thanks so much for watching. I want to encourage you to leave a comment, let me know what you think of the video, say hi, and maybe we can talk about what reading means to you.